Gibbs Racing is one of the top teams in NASCAR. They're one of the oldest teams in the sport, and their drivers were the favorites to win the Cup Series championship. But after the round of 16 of the playoffs, the team finds themselves in a very compromising position. Now it looks less likely that they will succeed in the coming races. Gibbs Racing, or JGR, finds itself in an unusual and challenging position after two of its drivers, Ty Gibbs and Truex Jr., were eliminated from the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs, following the race at Bristol Motor Speedway. The loss of Truex, a veteran and former champion, and Gibbs, a rising star, leaves JGR with only two cars remaining in the playoff hunt, raising concerns about their championship chances. Ty Gibbs, the grandson of team owner Joe Gibbs, has shown potential in his second full Cup Series season. However, the pressure of the playoffs may have been too much for the sophomore, as inconsistency and a lack of strong finishes in the first round ultimately led to his elimination. Despite showing flashes of speed throughout the season, Gibbs couldn't muster the performances needed to advance, leaving JGR's hopes in the hands of its more experienced drivers. And you can leave your hopes to stay up to date on the latest NASCAR news in our hands. NASCAR Off Track will always be here so you can have the best content as soon as it's released. So just hit that subscribe button and let us do the rest. You won't regret it. Gibbs' elimination raises concerns about the team's future as they invest heavily in developing the young driver. His talent is undeniable, but JGR's immediate championship prospects have been weakened by his early exit. Gibbs will need to learn from this experience to capitalize on his potential in the coming seasons. After he got knocked out of the playoffs in Bristol, he said, "It was just unfortunate there," Gibbs said on USA Network. "I felt like we were really good in practice and qualifying. I was just a little bit too loose tonight. The car fired off too tight. Just unfortunate. Speeding penalties on me. My fault. Proud of these number 54 guys. All the effort they've given me, and we'll keep hammering down." The first three races of the playoffs, Atlanta, Watkins Glen, and Bristol, proved to be difficult for Gibbs. While he had the speed to compete, a mix of tough racing luck and inconsistent results left him struggling to advance. In each of the first-round races, Gibbs found himself in situations that prevented him from capitalizing on his potential. Whether it was bad track position, on-track incidents, or strategy that didn't pan out, the young driver faced several hurdles. At Atlanta, Gibbs showed promise but finished mid-pack, unable to break into the top 10. Watkins Glen saw another solid but unspectacular performance. And heading into Bristol, he was on the bubble, needing a strong result to advance. Unfortunately, Gibbs couldn't put together the finish he needed at the high-banked short track, ultimately being eliminated from playoff contention. But he was not the only JGR driver to have been eliminated. Perhaps the most shocking development for JGR was Truex Jr.'s elimination for the playoffs. Although Truex did not have the best season during their regular season, he was hoping to turn things around in the playoffs. However, a combination of poor luck, mechanical issues, and underwhelming performances across the first three playoff races led to an unexpected exit after Bristol. Truex's elimination is particularly painful for JGR, as he has been the most consistent driver for the team in previous years. Known for his prowess in longer races and his experience in high-pressure situations, Truex was a driver JGR was counting on to make a deep playoff run. His sudden departure leaves the team without its most experienced title contender. After getting knocked out in Bristol, Truex said, "It's really tough when it's 0.09 miles per hour that kind of screws your whole chance at a good season up. I don't know how that happened. I didn't even know I was that close, honestly. I felt like I did the same thing as every other stop. Sometimes you're just a foot to the left. It's so tricky when you're going from that curved section to the straight. It's on me, obviously. My mistake. They said that we were going to have to run second or third there to have a chance, and I don't know if we could have done it, but it would have been nice to see. Just really sad for my guys. They worked so hard. We had a really strong car tonight. We got a lot of stage points. We did what we needed there. Just hate I screwed it up. I wish we could have at least seen if we could have done it. Would have been fun to have a fighting chance. You never like to let anybody down, no matter the situation. I hate that I did that tonight," he concluded in his interview with NBC. Truex Jr. finished his playoff run in 15th position, while Ty Gibbs finished 13th. While Gibbs will be looking forward to competing again next year, the same cannot be said for the number 19 driver. This is it for Truex Jr.'s season, but not just his season, his career. That's right, earlier this year, Truex Jr. announced that he would be retiring from the sport after this season. He dedicated the last 18 years to NASCAR racing, and he has accomplished a lot in the process. Martin Truex Jr. is probably one of the smoothest and most consistent drivers on the grid. He's done a lot for his old team, Furniture Row Racing, and his current team, Gibbs Racing. Truex has won 34 Cup Series races, 2 Xfinity championships, and 1 Cup Series championship. Ever since he joined Gibbs Racing in 2019, Truex has been a rock for the team. He delivered consistent performances throughout his time with the team. Truex Jr. is known for his smooth, methodical driving style. He excels on intermediate tracks and has earned a reputation for being a master of 1.5-mile speedways, where strategy and tire management play crucial roles. His late race consistency often puts him in a position to win, especially during long green flag runs. Even this year, Truex was one of the most consistent drivers without a race win. Last weekend at Watkins Glen, Truex was asked about his slump this season. To this, he said, "It's not a lack of speed, it is a lot of different things. You call it a slump. Great players get in slumps in other sports, and that is what I feel like it is. I feel like we're doing a lot of good things. We have a lot of speed and put ourselves in position. We just have to put it all together. Some days I make mistakes, some days the team makes mistakes. Some days, last week we got caught up in an accident. There's been a lot of that. Just have to put it together on one day, and hopefully that is this weekend," he said. There's no doubt that Truex Jr. was a very capable driver. After all, he is a former Cup Series champion. However, this year he was not able to keep up with his teammates. Some speculate that Truex has lost his edge, and that's why he's retiring from the sport. Although Martin Truex will retire after this season, we may still see him drive next year as a part-time driver to take part in some of his favorite tracks. Plus, we still have another 7 races to go this year. Although he's not in the playoffs, he will continue to participate in the races. But his final position in the championship is confirmed. With Gibbs and Truex out, JGR's championship hopes now rest on Denny Hamlin and Christopher Bell, both of whom are still alive in the playoff race. Hamlin, a seasoned veteran with multiple near misses for the title, is seen as a perennial contender. Bell, meanwhile, is another favorite to win the Cup Series championship. This year, he has proven that he can compete at the highest levels of NASCAR. However, the loss of 2 drivers this early in the playoffs puts significant pressure on Hamlin and Bell to carry the banner for JGR. The team has the resources and expertise to compete at the highest level, but their margin for error has shrunk dramatically. Any misstep from either driver could spell the end of JGR's championship aspirations for 2023. Gibbs Racing is facing a tough road ahead in the NASCAR playoffs after losing both Ty Gibbs and Martin Truex Jr. in the first round. While they still have 2 capable drivers in Denny Hamlin and Christopher Bell, the elimination of Truex in particular was a heavy blow. JGR will need flawless performances from Hamlin and Bell to keep their championship hopes alive in what has become an increasingly difficult postseason. Do you think Denny Hamlin and Christopher Bell can keep the ship floating till the finals? Can either of them win the Cup Series championship this season? Post your thoughts in the comment section below.